Have you ever felt like you didn't belong? That's how I felt my entire life. I grew up low income in rural Maine. At 5, my dad was incarcerated and we became homeless. At 18, I went to college, enrolled in computer science, but I dropped out my first semester. Most of the kids in my class had already programmed before. I didn't feel like I was smart enough to major in CS, but I was ambitious and determined that my past would not predict my future. At 19, I founded my first nonprofit, then founded 2 more, then founded 3 tech companies, including one that was recently sold for over $3 billion. I was incredibly lucky. But you know what? Our nation's pathways to success, they shouldn't depend on luck. And yet, they do. 80% of Black CS students drop out before sophomore year. 80%. To address that, CodePath has become a layer of support for underrepresented minorities inside of 60 computer science departments all across the country. We'll serve 5,000 students this year, twice as many as last year. From Howard University to Cal State Monterey Bay, we bring elite, multi-year technical training to underrepresented college students, then place them in high-earning technical careers. Today, more Black students complete a CodePath course each year than the total number of HBCU computing graduates. And CodePath students are at least 3 to 5 times more likely than they are to get the most competitive tech jobs. I'm sick of hearing Black students tell me that Black people don't get internships. We're changing that by transforming college computing education from a system where the default is failure to one that instead sets underrepresented minorities up to thrive. I'm Michael Ellison, CEO of CodePath.org, and I am a culture shifter.
Imagine a future where every person, regardless of their race, their gender, their income, or their zip code, could have access to high-quality, comprehensive medical behavioral care and to the social services that they need as well. A future where even our most vulnerable and traditionally underserved communities have care teams that they trust and who value their full lived personal experiences. Imagine real health equity, where racial bias doesn't drive health outcomes. To get there, we need a system of care that rewards value over volume, where provider-patient relationships are rooted in trust, meaningful and lasting, and where the use of technology decreases costs rather than increases them. Scalable solutions require complete rethinking of the services, technology, teams, and payment models that underpin health delivery. That's why I co-founded CityBlock Health, a transformative, value-based healthcare provider for Medicaid, dually eligible, lower-income communities. We've raised more than $500 million from venture capital so far to fund our business. We've received a valuation of over $1 billion. We serve more than 75,000 individuals across 5 geographies in the United States. And we employ a large, diverse, and talented workforce of individuals who are committed to serving their communities. Data from our first cohort proves that our model is working, with a 20% decrease in inpatient admissions and a 15% decrease in emergency department visits amongst the members whom we serve. My name is Dr. Toyin Ajayi, co-founder and president of CityBlock Health, and I am a culture shifter.
I am the first Black valedictorian in Princeton University's 274-year history. I am often asked how I managed to reach this milestone, almost as if being valedictorian was a concrete goal of mine throughout my undergraduate career. But by no means was this the case. I arrived at Princeton in the fall of 2016, incredibly intellectually curious, but with very little direction. However, over the course of the subsequent 4 years, the vast majority of the decisions I made were driven by 3 core fundamental principles. Learn as much as I could about the fields that were of greatest interest to me. Be deliberate in pursuing experiences and learning opportunities that would broaden my horizons, even if at the time those opportunities seemed to be outside of my sphere of competence. And finally, to surround myself with mentors and peers who would challenge my thinking and have a high likelihood of exposing me to new perspectives. These three core principles have facilitated my journey from being a high school student who had never written a single line of code and barely knew what academic research was to where I am today. 4 years after first arriving at college, I have now interned as a machine learning engineer at Google and as a quantitative developer at the D. Shaw Investment Group. I've had the chance to present my undergraduate thesis, which focused on developing novel machine learning techniques with public health applications at multiple academic conferences, and the work is currently under review at one of the top machine learning journals. I have conducted and presented international sustainable engineering projects at the United Nations headquarters. I am currently a PhD student studying operations research at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where my research is focused on developing a more unified theory of optimization and machine learning, with a specific focus on applied problems in healthcare and in finance. Through my platform, I seek to be an advocate for educational attainment in marginalized communities and increased representation in STEM industries, and I draw on my expertise to help corporations leverage state-of-the-art technologies to optimize their business operations. My name is Nicholas Andre G. Johnson, and I am a culture shifter.
I remember when I was a 6-year-old little girl, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I received a gift that would enlighten my future and forever change my life. It was simple. It was an ice cream maker. I remember ripping open the package, pouring the contents out into a bowl, getting water or milk, and stirring it all together, grabbing my rock salt and my ice, and churning until I made my very own ice cream for the very first time. Now let me tell you, it was not delicious. It actually tasted like more salt than sugar, but I created it myself. Fast forward to many years later, loads of ice cream made and eaten, and in 2008, I told myself that I was going to become an ice cream scientist. No, I had not heard of an ice cream scientist. I didn't even know they existed, but I was determined to become one. And in 2015, I did just that. I graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with my PhD in food science, where I studied the microstructure, sensorial, and behavioral properties of frozen aerated desserts. Basically, I studied ice cream and all of its close cousins. But since then, I have been able to inspire people to look at what they want to do in life, to find their passions in places they could have never, ever even imagined they existed. I have inspired people to pursue dreams that they didn't even know were possible, and to be able to look at what scientists look like, what scientists are, and who we are, all because I was able to follow my passion and my love of ice cream. I actually look at ice cream not only just as a sweet treat, but I look at ice cream as a passion, as opportunity, as possibilities, as something that unites the world. Ice cream speaks every single language. It knows no boundaries. It has no barriers. It's a food that brings people together no matter where you are on this earth. I am in the business of making people happy, of putting smiles on people's faces, and allowing people to see that what they want to do in life can be achieved. I'm an ice cream scientist after all. And so through that, I'm able to break the barriers of this is what a scientist looks like, and this is what scientists do, and this is who we are, and inspire the next generation to become scientists, to become powerful cultural shifters. And I am in the business of change that is making that culture shift. My name is Dr. Maya Warren. I am an ice cream scientist, and I am a culture shifter.
Throughout my 20-year career as an entrepreneur, I've been a pioneer and early adopter of several new technologies. I have launched 5 cash flow positive companies since 2001, including the UrbanStar.com, an entertainment and event site that was the first to have streaming video and music in 2003. I was the first American entrepreneur to sell shoes and vending machines when my company Flat Out of Heels launched our first machine in the Atlanta airport in 2013. And in 2020, I was awarded a design patent for the Pop Shop, a digital pop-up shop that leverages facial recognition, machine learning, and blockchain technology to help retailers gain deeper insights into customer behavior, which is the first type of machine like this in the vending industry. I am widely known for my achievements in the equity crowdfunding space and my role in paving the way for other founders to raise capital in what I call the civil rights movement of access to capital. After raising my first $1 million from venture capitalists and angels in 2017, I became jaded by my experience and decided to explore other ways of raising capital for my subsequent rounds. I was really tired of seeing the same investors and the same names in these big tech exits, but none of the people who were getting this liquidity looked like me, and they didn't come from my community. Blacks and minority communities are left out of deal flow due to lack of knowledge, lack of network, and lack of accreditation status. Investing in private equity was reserved for the rich, and the rest of us had to wait until a company goes public, until now. In 2012, the Obama administration passed the Jobs Act, which allows anyone to invest in early-stage private equity by leveraging crowdfunding. It was a very new concept that VCs frowned on, but I didn't care. I wanted to leverage the power of group economics to create generational wealth events that really never existed for the community. I wanted us to be able to get ahead. In 2019, I became the first female founder globally to raise over $1 million in an equity crowdfunding campaign. To date, I have raised over $4 million from 5,000 plus investors, and I estimate about 80% of them to be Black, which is revolutionary. I have also coached several other Black founders to raise over $20 million from investors and through crowdfunding. I have been honored among the most influential technology entrepreneurs in the country, including being named to the inaugural Forbes 1000 list, being on the cover of Black Enterprise magazine alongside my great friend Brian Burkeen in 2018, being featured in Entrepreneur magazine, Fortune, Fast Company, VentureBeat, HuffPost, Essence magazine, The Breakfast Club, and more. I believe my proudest moment is yet to come, and that is when I exit my company and give thousands of investors liquidity to create the largest Black wealth generation event in history. I welcome you to be a part of that movement. I am Dawn Dixon Apagane, a light worker, a mother, a wife, a serial entrepreneur, an inventor, an equity crowdfunding pioneer, and I'm here before you today to declare that I am a culture shifter.